Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Rishi Sunak has a major problem in Selby. As you know, there is 3 by-elections going to be coming up very shortly. Selby's one of them. Nadine Dorries hasn't quite gone. She's picking her moment to cause maximum damage to Rishi Sunak, but she'll go. And that'll give him 3 by-elections that he's likely to lose. Now, the trouble with Selby is, although it's not a traditionally safe Tory seat, it has been Tory for quite some time. It's one that, in the normal course of affairs, they think they'd probably win. But of course, we're not living in normal times. Everything is up in the air. And of course, Labour are resurgent. The Tory party's in chaos. They're fighting and backfighting. There's a civil war going on. And so it is more or less a dead cert, a shoe-in, if you will, for a Labour candidate at this by-election. Now, the Tories have had a candidate in place. Unfortunately for him, he's had to pull out. Now, it turns out that there is a medical emergency in the family. And of course, we're not heartless if that's the case. Absolutely, he's right to go. Your family's way more important than some talking job at Westminster. So we wish whoever it is a speedy recovery, you know. But that has left the Tory party with no candidate. Now, the trouble was, the last candidate sort of procurement procedure was on one set of boundaries, and now they're on the new set of boundaries. And so the guy that lost out to him wants a new vote under the new boundary system. And the Tories are resisting this because they're saying, oh no, we haven't got time. Labour are already knocking on doors and we have to go through this process again. It slows us right down. By the time we get that out of the way, the election's on us. You'll only have a few weeks of getting out to make people know who you are. It hands the victory to the Labour Party almost instantly. And so they have this big problem now. So, you know, we'll take a look at this article to see what's going on and to see why democracy is hard for Rishi Sunak. Well, we know that. He wasn't democratically elected leader of the Tory party, you know, because the members didn't want him. And so he became our Prime Minister without a vote. Democracy and the Conservatives. Strange bedfellows. Anyway, that's a different story for a different video. We'll look at this one and see what's going on. So the sad reason the Tories' Selby by-election has been thrown into political chaos. So while Mr Sunak faces a fight in 3 by-elections to prove he can win for the Tories, he can't. A political headache has emerged in North Yorkshire. I did a video yesterday about the backbenchers in the Tory party. They all know that Rishi Sunak is basically going to make them all unemployed. He is going to lose this next election by such a huge margin that there will be very, very few Tory MPs in the House after it. And they're saying that it is an absolute nightmare because the guy himself is so rabidly unpopular, not just across the country, but even within the Tory party. And that is why he must be looking at everything that's happened and thinking, is this a personal attack? He's getting paranoid. He's absolutely getting paranoid now. And I think it's time for him to go. They need to do something. But, you know, it's his call till it isn't. Anyway, the Tories' by-election hopes in North Yorkshire, the North Yorkshire constituency of Selby and Anstey, has been thrown into chaos today after Mr Sunak's candidate was forced to pull out for sad personal reasons. The by-election was triggered when Boris Johnson's former right-hand man in the cabinet, Nigel Adams, quit after failing to secure a peerage. The 3 by-elections sparked Boris Johnson, Nigel Adams and, to be confirmed soon, Nadine Dorries, pose a major risk for Mr Sunak's authority should he fail to win them. It's unlikely to win any of them. This is the thing. Uxbridge is probably... Oh, it's Uxbridge and Reigate, isn't it? Uxbridge is probably going to go Labour. In fact, it's almost certainly going to go Labour. It would take an absolute miracle for it not to. Nadine, when she goes, it's probably going to go to the Lib Dems. They're very strong in North Bedfordshire. And this one, again, for Nigel Adams, it's likely to go back to Labour. So, you know, he's going to have 3 by-elections. He'll lose all 3 by-elections. On top of that, if they approve a couple of the elevations to the Lords, there's a couple more by-elections. He could end up losing 5 and possibly 6 by-elections in a very short period of time, just as they're about to have enter into the last year before the run-up to the general election. He'll have had a lot of dissent in the ranks. There'll be the backbenchers looking to change him. The party members are furious because they did not want him as leader. They voted for Truss. They did not want him, and they were stitched up by the Parliamentary Conservative Party. And so the actual party members, I know a couple of party members, and they say that there is ill talk in the ranks, put it that way. And there's some that have left the party, and he says, one of my friends, he says he's sitting there and he said they're actually going to these local meetings, local branch meetings. He says, and the rancor is tangible. He says that they are even now angry about it, and then they get asked to, can we push this, can we push that, and a lot of them are just saying, no, I can't be asked. What is the point of us doing anything when they don't listen? And he's got a point. These people do, whoever the party is, whatever your party is, be it Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem, doesn't matter, your groundwork, the groundwork is done by people at the bottom, and if you treat those people with contempt, you lose everything. And that's what's happened. The Parliamentary Conservative Party have treated its own members with contempt, and they're paying the price for it now. And so, yes, they will get absolutely roasted come the general election. And that's fine. Anyway, due to an unforeseen family circumstance... Oh, sorry, this is the candidate. Due to an unforeseen family medical emergency, I have had to withdraw my candidacy from Selby and Ainsty. While the Express understands Mr. Norton's explanation is wholly legitimate, there have been concerns over his selection prior to pulling out. One of the losing candidates, Andrew Lee, was reportedly demanding a rerun after the initial selection, which saw Michael Norton come out on top. But he was run under the new constituency boundaries set to come in before the next election, rather than the current boundaries that this by-election will be fought on. And so you have these boundary changes that are coming, and it's gonna wipe out a few seats as well. I think they're getting it down to a flat number of seats, whatever it is, 650, something like that, whatever. Anyway, the previous election meant that some members of the new Selby and Ainsty Constituency Conservative Association may have been entitled to votes, despite not living within the boundaries the by-election would be fought on. And so, yeah, so there we go. It's one of those minutiae details that can so often swing things. Journalist Michael Crick, who is tracking candidate selections for the local general election, for the next general election, with his Twitter account at Tomorrow's MPs, said local Tories last Friday chose a candidate for the general election on expected new boundaries. But once Nigel Adams quit, the by-election is on for the current seat on existing boundaries. So a different set of members should be involved. Indeed, so what happened was Nigel Adams wasn't expecting to fight this local election. He was in place ready for the general election, which would be fought on the new boundaries, but they now need to find someone on the current boundaries. And so it is one of those little things, it's little minutiae, and he's trying to take full advantage of it to have a second bite of the cherry, because they all want to be greedy and become MPs and get paid lots and lots of money, public money, so they can sit on their arse and contribute nothing to society. They're all parasites. Well, every party, I think, are all parasites. We could do without them. Anyway, the Tory source said a new candidate will be announced in due course. However, it is reported it has not yet decided how to choose Mr. McNaughton's successor. A full rerun of the vote would be time-consuming and waste vital days, which I've mentioned. While Nigel Adams won a huge 20,000 majority in 19, the current polls suggest the outcome of the by-election could be tight. Yeah, I mean, this is also what I said. It was a strong Tory seat last time, but that was the Boris effect, where even up in the north, Boris got these big things. Boris isn't there. They're going to see a lot of support slip away, and then given all the other things. So it is actually expected to be a Labour win. And he just rounds off and tells you who he is and what he's done, but which you're not interested in. So, yeah, there we are. So we've got this problem now. Rishi Sunak has got this problem now, that he's got these 3 elections he's likely to lose, and now he's got this one in Selby that is unlikely to have a candidate in place prior to the start of the election campaign. It isn't looking good, and it may cost him dearly. And I do hope, I'd like to see him squirm. Not that he squirms at Prime Minister's questions, of course. He never turns up for them, does he? Lazy sod. Anyway, I shall round off and come up. I think it'd be interesting to see the spin that they try to put on the defeats. They'll come up with the usual platitudes, won't they? Oh, well, it's an unpopular government in the middle of an election cycle. Blah, 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 blah. I can always smell it from here, can't you? All the BS coming out. The fact is that the Tory party are doing this to themselves. All this infighting. There's not a single policy where they're completely united. They are riven in 5 different ways over 6 different, things. It's a party at war with itself. They don't have anyone at the top that's strong enough to lead them. There's another party, because at the end of the day, you're sitting there. You need someone with authority. And Mowgli does not have the authority. He just sits there and goes like this, and people just plain ignore him. And there's nothing he can do. He hasn't got it. And of course, the backbenchers are mutinying now because they know they're out. And so they've got nothing to lose. They can criticise him with impunity because they know they're out of the next election. Doesn't matter. They're done. And so he is going to have a hard time. Not from the Labour benches opposite, but from all the people behind him. They will be the ones giving him the hard time. And I hope to watch it. And I hope they roast him. I hope they tear him a new one. And I will be reporting on it. And I hope you will be watching it. So I shall finish there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And please do. We're getting very close to our target. And please leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Let us keep up all the pressure on these people and keep telling the truth until eventually they all fall. And goodbye.